We're near Cowpens, South Carolina, visiting the husband and wife pottery team, Rosa and Winton Eugene. Thank y'all so much for letting us come to see you today. Winton, has this been a lifelong employment for you?
No, it hasn't. It started maybe when I was 40 years old because I was a father that wanted to involve my children in doing all kinds of stuff around the house. And they didn't like doing that type of thing, so they figured I needed another hobby besides raising animals. So they bought me a potter's wheel for my Christmas present to get me out of their hair.
And was it a successful Christmas present?
Well, at first we was hoping it would last for at least 5 years or 6 years, you know, because he was supposed to teach himself how to turn pots. But within 6 months, he had a whole garage full of greenware. So it wound up being more labor intense for me and my children than we had anticipated.
So what started out as a hobby turned into a full-time vocation. And one of the pots that I've enjoyed, the scenes, and I see repeated scenes, is one with what looks like a large live oak, perhaps from the low country, with a house. Can you tell me what that represents?
Well, really it represents our air conditioning when we was kids, because simply we just didn't have it. So you was either instructed to go outside and play under the tree for punishment, don't leave the yard. And so that was the purpose of, it wasn't the purpose of the tree, but the tree served that purpose, and it was cool, always cool and nice, and a nice place to be on a hot summer day.
Then other scenes that I see reflect, I believe, some of those early memories, because you have, what's the group that you, what do you call the series that has the silhouetted faces in it, Rosa?
You're talking about A Minority in Relief.
A Minority in Relief. And who are some of the people that we see in that series, please?
Well, really, some of them, one of them is my full grade teacher. She appears a lot. She has this bunny in the back of her head. This lady used to whip well. She used to punish well. You know, you always had to hold a, what is it, a dictionary over your head, kneeling in the corner. I don't think they can do that today, but that's one of them. And the other one is my grandmother, the lady with the rag. And then it's my grandfather.
Rosa, one of the new themes, I believe, has some reeds with faces on it, and then some flowers and things on the other side. What is that trying to convey?
Well, that the name of that concept is called Endangered Species Global Warming. What it's talking about is it's talking about the wetlands. In South Carolina, we have a lot of wetlands, and a lot of times people buy the property in order to, you know, build houses and destroy the wetlands. And what it's doing is it's taking away the natural habitats that animals live in. And what else is happening on the back with the global warming part of the pot? One side has endangered species and the other side has global warming. And we're talking about deforestation. Mm-hmm. And you see people just, you know, cutting down trees and causing that. And people don't realize how much that's impacting the environment.
There are some larger pots that I think you call concept pots, and one that caught my attention, you said, is a mock mosaic, and it has people who look like they're carrying things.
Burdens to Bear is a mock mosaic, just like you said, where the white part is glazed, and then the black line is tile grout. It's a technique that we developed, me and my husband developed this technique, and what happened is the burden, like the block, you'll see a block on somebody's shoulder, or a burden in their hands, or on some part of their body they have a burden. People don't realize that they're just not on this planet by themselves. Everybody has a burden to bear.
And another concept pot has something to do with people who are being loud, perhaps about themselves. Tell us about that.
You're talking about Toot Blow. What it's talking about is in our society, you have so many people who just want to just brag. Every time you turn around, oh, I did this, I can do this, I can do that. And you know, they're always competing for bragging rights on something. A lot of times people have something to say. What it's telling everybody is sometimes people have something to say, they just choose not to say it.
Winton, I'd like for you to choose to tell me a little bit about throwing a pot.
Well, okay, what happened is the technique is kind of simple, and it's been around for a long time. But first you have to center the piece. Just whatever size you're going to use, it have to be in the center of the wheel. And once you get it in the center, you have to apply enough pressure to make that piece smooth all the way down to the surface. So once you start bringing it up, you don't have any lumps. So once you're center, you have to open it up and it forms a donut. So when you bring it out like that, you have a lump on the outside that's round, and then you have to go inside and then apply pressure on the inside, the same amount of pressure on the outside, and then you bring it up. And once you get the cylinder up high enough, then you can go into the shaping aspect of it. You take a sponge or a chamois and you put on the inside, and you apply more pressure on the inside, that's gonna make it bulge out, and then you have this smooth piece of wood you use on the outside to keep it smooth. And then you just bring it up like that, and then you get your shape.
And after you finish that, then you go in with tools and put the patterns into the pots.
Yeah, what happens is you have to wait maybe 3 or 4 hours in the summer or longer in the winter. So once you do that, you can sketch on it and treat it like paper. Whatever you want to put on it, you take a pencil and you just trace an outline, a light line on it, and then you can go back and remove the clay from around the tree or the faces, and it makes the piece, the things on it seem like they're lifted or higher, but it's not. You just remove the clay from around the drawing or the sketch that you put on the piece.
You have several kilns that you can use for firing, and some of them are easier, and you have electric kilns, but you have one that looks kind of old-fashioned. Tell me about that.
Well, that's wood. It's not old-fashioned, but it's a lot of work involved in it, and it's one of the nicer one to fire because you have to constantly be involved with it, and you have to constantly throw wood in it to get the temperature to rise slow, not fast, but it's a wood kiln, and it's fun.
But I would say it's a little bit different from most wood kilns because a lot of the old-fashioned wood kilns, you gotta fire them. Most people fire them a half a day, 24 to 36 hours. But ours is like triple wall lined. So we only have to fire 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah.
So it's a combination of an old technique with a modern twist to make it easier to use.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we've had a wonderful time visiting and learning about y'all's fascinating work. If people would like to get in touch with you, how can they talk to you?
Well, they can call me because I do not have email. They can call me at area code 864-463-4217. That's in Cowpens, South Carolina.
And we thank you so much for letting us visit you, and we are going to enjoy seeing your pots evolve in the future.
Okay,
Thank you.
and thank you for coming out.